Hey, folks. Welcome back. Friday. Uh, and I don't have a good topic yet. So I am leaning on everyone out there to help us make this a good stream today. I spent the past couple hours racking my brain trying to come up with a good plan. And so far, so bad. Hasn't worked out yet. I think I expended all of my quality ideas yesterday. I went and spoke to a group of NC State students here locally for what felt like about 15 minutes, but in reality, it was an hour and a half. Feedback was great. I had a good time. Students were happy. Professor was happy. So I feel like I did a good job, but I worry that it emptied the well of ideas. Oh, goodness gracious. Maybe somebody like Agile Biker can help. Maybe he has some ideas on what we should be talking about. Because me and Walter back there, we got nothing. So that's why it's a ask me anything all day. And the tweet that went out when the stream started said it was no topic, no panic. I'm not exactly sure that's 100% correct. There may be some slight panic around what in the world am I going to talk about today. But as usual, all the viewers make it happen, and I'm just like, I'm the guy steering the boat. That's the way I look at it. The magic is definitely not me. Okay. Scrum Sarge had a fun tweet. Okay. Well, cue that up, Agile Biker, and we will discuss that. So, Charles, how to get leaders to embrace fail early and fall fast. It depends on who they are. And usually that is a challenge for previous top-down hierarchical managers or leaders. Usually managers in that situation, not really leaders. And the approach I generally take whenever we're trying to change habits for somebody, because that's ultimately what you're trying to do. You're working with that leader to help them build a new habit and shed some old ones. I treat everything as an experiment, and we try to fail fast and fail small with that experiment. So I put that in place right away. So I would, with that leader, say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Leader, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and fail early and fail fast. We're going to make some changes, but we're going to keep a very tight pulse on it. We are going to iterate. We are going to be agile with this change ourselves and get them in that experimentation. I expect you'll see that they see positive reinforcement, positive movement happening, and then you can work with them to expand that out across the team and make that the norm. But I do think if as soon as you can get them to experience that themselves, they'll start to believe in it. Then they'll start to push and promote it. And then you'll have the snowball effect. But it will take a little bit of courage. But courage, usually, there's less courage required when you're failing small or your risk is small. So do that same thing with them. Yep, Agile Biker nailed it. As usual. And my phone is buzzing like crazy. Yeah, I think it is an interesting trend that I've seen where people just change the words that they use and everything's different. Okay. So Agile Biker, you're telling me that this is Scrum Sarge's tweet. Fixed state planning is possible in an empirical environment. Fixed state does not equal automatic waterfall project. Well, number one, I have no idea what an empirical environment is. I can make a guess, but in reality, like, what the hell does that mean? Like, in a pure environment, what is a pure environment? Like that. So that's the first piece for me, is like, well, okay, so he might be right if it is truly an empirical environment, but I don't think such an environment really exists. That must be in some book I never read. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to Google this. I call BS. All right. So I am a definition. I don't know if this is the definition. An empirical environment is one where improvement and direction is guided by experiments and experience. Doesn't match up with my understanding of the definition of empirical, but maybe I'm wrong. Probably I'm wrong. It's happened before, and Agile Biker often points it out. Okay, so Scrum Sarge is saying that in a truly data-driven environment, fixed date is possible. I still come back to real software engineering challenges, real products. To be like, if that's the definition of empirical, which we'll go with, that's fine. I get fact-based, experience-based, evidence-based, all of those things. But I don't believe you ever have 100% pure empirical clarity on how to build the thing you're building. I suppose if you walked into a refinement or something like that and you knew exactly how to build what you were going to build, then maybe fixed date is possible. But I don't view that as a thing. Like that doesn't exist. I mean, maybe in the simplest of products. I think if you were to really boil that down to true empirical, maybe, but I don't think any product that any of us would be hired to be a part of, you truly have empiricism throughout the whole stack. Yes, you might be a fact, experience, and evidence-based team, but if you go and get all of the facts about how you're going to build something, yes, you would know exactly that feels waterfally because you end up with 100% locked in design before you start coding. That's how I read it. So I disagree with Scrum Sarge. Scrum Sarge, I hope you're here. Are you here? No, you're not. Daggone it. Why not? VA Agile's here. It's 2:30 in the morning in Australia. VA Agile's here. Daggone it. So yeah, I don't, I may have to reply to that on Twitter. I saw a notification about something he sent out that apparently got some eyeballs, but I didn't I didn't dig in and respond. Perhaps I could. Wait a minute, are we like global today? Is that Agile Jamie Collins out there? Man, oh man, we've got the whole globe covered. That's exciting. How's the weather? I didn't know Brexit Day was a thing. See, this is like Google Day. I got to Google all these things I don't know or understand yet. So is this the day that Brexit is like happening? We have to educate us. Okay. Well, at 11 p.m. in London, we officially leave the EU. Okay. Well, okay. So, Agile Biker, I feel like you're just poking me now. How is fixed state possible? Like, what behaviors are the right behaviors with fixed state? I mean, you've got to look at the three-legged stool and say, okay, yeah, fixed state is possible, but that doesn't, you can't fix the requirements. Oh, this is going to be good. I don't believe you. So you're suggesting all three things can remain true with the right behaviors. While I think you might get yourself close. Ooh. He's yelling at me now. This is good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the norm. Yes, you can only have two. Fair. But, well, no, I was going to make a statement and then I realized it was not good. We'll keep it. Yeah, that's a reasonable thing. You can only have two out of the three. I'm on board with that. I thought you were suggesting that all three were fixed. I didn't know what in the world kind of behaviors you could have that would make that a reality. I know there's none that I can think of, but that's why you're the Agile Biker. Hey man, I don't know. You know, you've been away for a while. I don't know what's happened. You know, who knows? Maybe you went off on a bike ride in the mountains, had some epiphany, and figured out the world. And you're coming here to share it with us. Yeah, so those are the right behaviors. I agree 100%. Well, Agile Jamie, I don't know how to help you with Brexit. I wish I could. We in America have our own issues happening right now that we could stand to sort out. Seems like the three primary countries we have represented in our stream, Australia, Great Britain, and America, have a lot going on these days. That's an interesting way to phrase that, Jamie. What a behavior I've seen of late is that teams and groups become maniacal about the budget and fail to discuss options that may not blow the budget, but increase the budget. And they unintentionally make decisions that are limiting to what they deliver with intent, right? Trying to protect the budget, But so often when I encourage them to speak with the budget controllers, whoever those may be, and say, okay, I get this was the budget, but I think if we can do this, that will cost about this much. There's return on that. I've been encouraging teams, much as Agile Biker talked about real decisions and real priorities, is that so often I found that teams aren't willing to broach the budget subject or the date budget and say, okay, we can do this or this. If we do this, we nail the budget. We think everybody's happy. But if we do this plus this, we think this is the return. So I've been spending a lot of time working with teams, encouraging them to, one, understand the budget. So oftentimes that's not even the thing that people have access to or understand how the business is. How does the company make money from the things that we ship? I found that's a really powerful piece of information that then enables teams to optimize what they deliver or how they deliver it. Yeah, I am not suggesting, Charles, that everywhere budgets have some wiggle room. But the behavior I'm seeing is that almost globally, people are unwilling to at least discuss the options. So that's what I've been doing. Oftentimes the discussion happens like, oh, okay, well, yep, we can't, there's no flex in the budget. Gotcha. In some of the growth-based companies that I've been in that have large investments behind them, when talking to executives, you quickly find out that we have cash and we will deploy that capital if we believe it will help us achieve our goals in a more aggressive manner. Now, again, that's a unique scenario. That's the world I've been living in for the past few years, where there's a pile of cash behind us that is put in place to enable us to do more. In some places I've been, that's not the norm. I get that. Yeah, I align with Agile Biker on this, Jamie. I do think it is agile to have the discussion. And again, I'm not suggesting that pushing the date out or spending more money is always the right thing. All I'm saying is that I see too often teams don't even see it as an option or have a discussion, when oftentimes I sit down with an executive and say, hey, I see this going on. What do you think about this? What if we spent an extra $200,000, but it got us X, Y, and Z? And the instant reaction is like, yeah, we want it. Yes. Why would we not do that? So that's all I'm suggesting, is that have the discussion, look at those scenarios that Agile Biker is talking about. And maybe after you look at them, you realize, okay, that's not even a possibility. We're not even going to bring it up. But a thing that I've seen of late, again, especially in the types of companies that I've been working with that are recently funded, when you present a case or an opportunity that may take a little bit longer, cost a little bit more, but might be an accelerant to future things, people are usually willing to spend that in those types of companies. There have been other companies where I've been in where like that's not a thing, and I get that. And Charles, it is often not the norm. Totally get that. But I do think it's one of those things that might be worth the discussion. And just a quick one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're all right in this instance. as usual. The only point I was trying to make, I hope I didn't create any confusion, was that too often people are unwilling to even approach the subject and have a discussion. And oftentimes, many times, it's like, yep, that's not going to work. We got to ship this by this date. Okay, cool. Got it. We're going to go make that happen. But there are times where it might work. It might make sense. Not all times. And yes, you do have all of those views because I believe our world is too complex for it to actually be however Scrum Sarge defined it. What did he say? I had to go back up there. An empirical environment. I don't think the entire environment is empirical. I think the world and the complexity that software is and the software lives in prevents it from being empirical. If it was really empirical, then I don't think you would need humans to write the code, to build the things, to test the things. If you really knew everything, you could write some code to write the code. Then what would we do? But yeah. So that was good, folks. Good start. Good half hour. I like it. Way to come in firing, everyone. Because as I mentioned, if you're here when we started, I wasn't sure what in the world we were going to talk about. But as usual, you guys delivered. I thank you. Well, I mean, it's either empirical or it's not. I think empiricism is binary. I don't know that it's extreme. When I think of empirical, again, that's why I struggled with it. Maybe that's why I struggle with it. It's like, it is or it isn't. I don't think there's a middle ground. Or am I wrong? Again, I've been wrong before. Once or twice. I didn't hire Agile Biker. That was a mistake. I was missaying Sir Walter Raleigh. And Agile Jamie Collins' daughter corrected me. I was wrong about the time it was in Australia. VA Agile corrected me multiple times. I think I've got it straight in my head. Finally. Took like a month. I'll get there. Eventually, I'll figure it out. So, am I the only one that views empiricism as binary? Exactly, Charles. To me, that's the difference, and that's my disagreement with Scrum Sarge's. Oh, good luck, Jamie. I think Scrum Sarge's hypothesis or theory, whichever one is the right word, you guys will correct me, does not hold true because so much of the environment, which includes building the thing, is not empirical. To me, that's the real challenge. I totally get that we can build a process and a culture that may work in an empirical manner, but I still don't believe that's wrapped around an empirical thing. The complexity, the ambiguity of how to build things, how they will be used, all of that. There are many, many variables in there that I don't believe Scrum Sarge's statement can hold true. Maybe, maybe not. We may never know. If only Scrum Sarge were here to argue. Where have you gone? Okay, let's see what else. Yesterday, I spent a significant amount of time talking to soon to be college graduates. So let's see, it's almost February. They graduate in like May-ish here. So they are 3 to 4 months away from graduating. Many of them had jobs lined up. And I was just trying to provide some bit of knowledge from 20 years of doing this stuff. And the questions were pretty darn good. I was, number one, I was kind of jealous because I don't think I would have had those questions if I were in their seat 20 years ago. So there's that. Oh man, Agile biker. This is good. Okay, we can debate that. Like, do you want to do it in person? Do there need to be microphones? Should we like do like a UFC fight? Do a pay-per-view? I'd be happy to do that. I've got walkout music in mind. What are you talking about? No, we should have it right here. That way you're limited strictly to typing, and I'm not. That's why Bob hates this. Bob cannot deal with the stream because he feels so disadvantaged because he doesn't have a microphone. So yes, I understand. I would be happy to discuss this, my friend. We can arrange a lunch and I can prove you wrong. That's going to happen. And I'm excited. Well, that's the ambiguity here, Jamie. I view maybe even with empirical process control, if we were to go with just that, I still don't believe there's just too much complexity around building and shipping great software. You can build and ship software. Yeah, sure, you can do that. Doesn't mean it's going to be great. It doesn't mean you're going to delight your customers. You can do that. I am applying empiricism the whole way through the stack. And I think stopping at just the process control, I think you're kind of fooling yourself at that point. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this is what they're saying. And there is nothing worse. I feel like a complete jerk right now. I feel like there's nothing worse than in a debate or an argument or a discussion when you like copy and paste a definition. Like that's just weak sauce and I feel terrible. So there's that. I'm sorry. I feel like I just took the easy way out. But when I think of empirical, that's what's in my brain. And maybe that's the difference, is how we're viewing things. I understand the empirical process and that approach. I just think you're getting yourself in trouble if you go all the way to where Scrum Sarge went. using that weak definition, I think the depth of experience required for a reasonably complex project is unattainable to get to really fixed states. You can get there. I just don't believe you're going to ship great products. I think you would potentially be skimping on things. Just gets down to the priorities of your organization. What is most important? As we talked about, real decisions about real priorities. And I think priorities go beyond the order of the things we're building. Oh man, we are at all caps, my friends. This is like DEFCON 3. I do think so. One of the challenges is that, yeah, exactly. It's a finished product, but then at that point, what have you done? And finished is still one of those squishy words, because I have seen teams finish an MVP that in the end wasn't really viable, but a date was met. Everybody felt good, but the viability in the market didn't exist. Man, what have we done? What have we done? This is a glorious day. We got Agile Biker on fire. Yeah, Charles, I don't view that as like, to me that's life. I generally stand behind plans never survive contact with the enemy. And in our world, enemy is just like time and doing things. All I get, Agile Biker. All I'm saying is that to me, the reason why I flipped to black and white, which is not my norm, by the way, the term empirical injects black and white into my brain. So that's why I'm here. Oh man. Might be one of my favorite streams ever. Counterpoint. As you talked about, you being Agile Biker, many chats above. With the right behaviors, fixed date as possible. My argument would be with the right behaviors, time would not be filled by the work. With the right behaviors, I believe the team would ship the thing when they're done. I also believe that the right behavior has a rather limited time component. Yes, VA Agile. I believe you're getting all my beliefs now. Congratulations. I believe that when you connect, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, when you really truly connect the team with the business, and this is easier in smaller companies because there's just less ambiguity, there's less things going on, there's fewer roles, everybody has easier access to context and clarity. That when there is true context and clarity around the value, what's being delivered, and the impact given to the company by delivering that value, I 100% believe and have seen that teams will ship things as fast as they can because they understand what's important. I believe Parkinson's law happens when teams are disconnected truly or from the true why. They might have some view of the why, but they aren't truly connected to it. But at that point, the problem is not the team, is leadership's inability as of yet really connect that team with the why. So that is my potentially controversial view. Well, I don't fully agree with you can't ship whenever you want. You can release code, and this is where you're going to get really mad at me, Agile Biker. You might break your keyboard today. You can release code whenever you want. The business may choose to launch it in a unified manner whenever they want. Too late, I did it. I knew as the words started coming out of my mouth, even before that, as they were forming in my brain, that this was going to create angst. And hey, aren't you moving? Like, aren't we going to be neighbors soon? We're going to have these debates. In person, you can throw things at me. Just don't throw a bike at me. I mean, if you're going to make a choice, it's got to be Fuquay. Or more clearly, the better option. So the Agile Biker, I just want to try and clarify what I was saying. In too many organizations, the teams are feature factories that are just building what they're told. That is a failure of the organization. That is not a team problem. What I've found is that when it's truly connected from front to back about why we do what we do, there's clarity around the business strategy, the product strategy, and how every bit of work connects to all of that, then I have seen, I want to use the word empirically so bad, but I'm not sure it applies. I have seen that teams will ship as fast as they can and not fill up a time box. That's hard. I get that. Challenging. The bigger your organization, the harder it is, because the more connected or disconnected or distributed all of that information is. In a smaller company, I think that's why you see smaller companies move faster because the distribution of knowledge and why is more narrow. Okay. Maybe you should move to Clayton. This might not work. Oh, man. All right, so is there anything else we can talk about that will make Agile Biker angry? That will get him cursing at me, using all caps, yelling? Because if there is, we should talk about it. I do think Agile Biker, that is an interesting, it's a potential metacast that is then debated on Agile Biker's blog. And that's there. We could do that. All right, well, have you run out of steam, my friends? Did we beat this one up enough? Is everybody worn out from all the yelling? Agile Biker's fingers are tired. They're bleeding from angry typing. Oh, God. Oh, man. I think I can make that happen. To figure out how to do that. We can do that. We need a pay-per-view. Stream it. It's actually not a bad idea. I'm not sure. Let's see. Next week. I think we might be. Good luck here. Checking the schedule. I don't know if Bob is the... I'd have to check. Bob and I were planning... Yeah, Bob and I were planning to do a podcast. I don't know. We're working out dates. So whether we do it in person with Bob or without Bob, we will make that happen. We'll find a way. I will make sure the content gets shared since there is a little bit of fire there. And, you know, Agile Biker might want to show people how wrong I am, because that might happen. Oh, man. Only Bob were here. I'm not going to debate the cooler thing. Like, I don't feel like that's a debatable debatable topic. Cooler's pretty clear. And I think Bob would agree with that. Like, I don't feel like that's the defining fact. So, but we'll see. Okay, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up today. Thanks to everybody for coming in, discussing, throwing topics out. Charles got the party started. Thank you for that. Then we went all empirical. We learned about Brexit. And this is the last day. Well, Warrior Blue, you're here. I will see everybody next week. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for making the content great. This only happens because of you guys, like we talked about. I had no topics today. Look at what happened. Again, happened because of you guys. So thanks a million. We'll do it again someday, like a week from now. How does that sound? Everybody will wake up at 2:30 like VA Agile. We'll hang out, have some fun. We'll get Agile Biker to yell at us. It'll be great. All right. I'll see everybody. Thank you.